Okay, I'm back for round two. On this one, I think this is where I left off. I don't know what I'm going to make out of it yet. What I got to do is try to get it as straight as possible. It's not going to be totally straight. So, what do I talk about during this pressure flaking stuff? It cooled down a lot, at least 20 degrees cooler in the shop today. Probably 30 degrees cooler than yesterday. Drastic weather change. It was about 100 yesterday, now it's about 70. Okay, so one of these days I'll do this live so that you guys can tell me what point I should be making from your area. If I work on some stuff that's not from around here, like this Keokuk is from Arkansas, right? Something like that. Ohio, maybe. Or it comes from a large area. I didn't look on the map. I just kind of glanced at what the heat treating range was for this. It's between 500 and 600 degrees, right? That's what it says on the Puget Sound Nappers site. So that's what I'm thinking. Although it probably responds lower than that, right? Maybe you guys can tell me. Okay. So I'll just make a blade out of it, and then maybe I'll put notches in it. If I do a live stream, I need to make sure I'm hooked up to Wi-Fi, which means I'll have to move my flit napping operation closer to our little modem. I don't get Wi-Fi out here in the shop. It's too far from the house. And yes, I could get a booster, but we're on our third booster and they don't work. So don't have that option. Anyway, it would be kind of cool to do one of these live. Although I don't know if I could read the comments and do the napping at the same time. But I think I'm going to try it anyway. I'll move my napping operation, which is basically just, you know, a little chair and the tripod and the camera and napping kit. Little drop cloth for the floor. I can set up anywhere. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm not gonna do too much pressure flaking on this one. As you can see, I quickly changed over to the punch indirect flaker. I really need to thin down this base. It's a long piece. I'm afraid to hit it hard enough to get some thinning flicks going. I'm afraid to snap this thing. I tried to flake from the side here, but it didn't work. Quite steppy. Quite a steppy mess. But I'm not going to hit directly on the base, directly upward. It's got to be at least a little bit slanted to prevent the snapping from happening. Prevent the snapping from happening. Let's see. I really don't know what to talk about. I am in a hurry, but I don't want to mess this up by talking too much. This is a challenging piece because of the curves in it. That should have gone there. I mean, I should have probably prepared a little bit better and it would have gone all the way up. I can pressure flake around the whole thing and firm up those edges. Some edges are really thin. If I pressure flake it, it'll be better. For more percussion on the thinning flakes, it doesn't need to get much thinner. I just need to get rid of some of these bulky areas, like right in there, right here, that sort of thing. So just go around the whole thing and see what happens. I get requests to do all kinds of different material, but I usually don't get a request on something specific, like about the material. Like I'm having trouble with Keokuk because of blah blah blah. I usually just get, can you do a video on Keokuk, or can you do a video on that site? They're not the requests are not specific, so I don't know what the issues are. Of course, it could be everything. I could ask, what's the issue? And they would say, everything. Pressure flaking, percussion flaking, thinning, shaping, notching, basically everything. It's probably what the problem is. Most of the new guys can't do anything with the stone that they're having trouble with. Can't thin it, can't do notches on it, can't do percussion or pressure. Nothing is working except for the end snaps. The end snaps are working perfectly. The step fractures are working perfectly. The walnut bifaces are working, or no, the almond bifaces or the briquette bifaces are working perfectly. But that's about it. Can you think of something else? The not being able to get flakes to release is working perfectly. Platform crushings is working. Platform mess ups works just right. When I hit a platform and it messes up, that's working pretty good. Can you use it like this? You know, all curvy and wonky as a knife blade? Oh yes. Projectile point? Oh yeah. So why am I continuing? Because people want to see how to straighten these out. They don't want to make it look like an artifact. They want to make it look like a production item. You mean the artifacts were all crookedy? Yeah, they were all crooked. Not perfect. What about the ones I see that are perfect and they're selling them for like $1,000? Yeah, those are the exceptions. Those are like the 1/10 of 1% of the artifacts. You end up seeing a lot of those because they get a lot of publicity. Okay, I want to switch back over to indirect percussion. I don't know if I'll be able to get rid of your name on there, Dave. After I finish it, it'll look like you signed it. Okay. Yeah, it's going to get pretty thin. It's going to get pretty thin, and it's not going to be very strong for these thinning flakes I need to do. I need to be very careful. I don't know what it is. These flakes should be traveling well, but they're not. Something I'm doing. Something I'm doing that the Keokuk doesn't like. It's probably the real thin platforms. Platforms, yeah, probably need to be beefy, stout. Yeah, thin platforms, the flakes just don't carry. It's kind of resistant to the abrader as well. It doesn't grind down very well. So a little bit extra time on grinding, abrading, whatever you want to call it. This stone does not like minimalistic type of napping. It wants you to try to break it with every strike. I'm trying to do the minimum power on these strikes as possible, but it doesn't like it. See that? I try to do the minimum amount of force, but it just does not like it. Why the minimum? Because it's really darn thin right now. Really thin. For the amount of force I'm using. Okay. Yeah, this may bleed over into the next video segment. It's going to take more than 30 minutes on this one. Let's see. It shows the flake scars pretty well. That's about it. If you're a beginner and you can't do anything with this stuff, don't feel too bad. Although, you know, with any kind of material, you can get used to it. The more you nap a certain material, the better you get at it. This is one of those materials that if you get used to it, you can make some really nice pieces out of it. It seems to pressure flake just fine. Without much hassle. don't want to lose too much off of this side. So mainly what I got to do is remove from the bottom here. See if I can run a good flake. Yep, it's very crushy. New word for the day. It's got a curve in it. It's gonna have the curve in it. I don't think I'm gonna take it out. I think that one of the biggest problems with new nappers is the step fracturing, and if Keokuk is going to be steppy, it may be why I get requests for this stuff. How to not make it steppy. Well, it likes you to create a very stout platform and run big flakes or little flakes. The in-betweeners are what it doesn't like. It likes powerful big flakes or these little nitpickety small flakes. It likes these small ones, but the in-betweeners like this one don't like them. So what am I going to do? I keep looking at that curve. That curve is what's bugging me. I could take off mass from here, and that would go a long way to give the appearance of no curve, but I don't know what I'm going to make. Just a stemmed point, I guess. With just a stemmed point, I can take that curve out of the base there, or take mass off of this side of the base and make it look straighter. And when I say stemmed, you know, all points have stems, but I'm talking mainly about a stem without notches or barbs. This one might have little bitty barbs. does not want you to be gentle. All right, fine. I will try to break it every time. Okay. And it has to have stout platforms. Can't be these little makeshift expedient platforms. They've got to be stout. Can't be irregular either. And for you new guys, this is one of the easiest points to make, is this contracting stemmed type point. You'll see when I'm finished. But you can pretty much guess what it's going to look like. See, even that wasn't, it didn't even like that really hard hit. It didn't expand over to this little step here. That's how much it wants you to be very aggressive. See that? It stopped. I'm trying to get that little step. I tried once, nope. Second time, nope. It doesn't want to travel. I can probably get it with a pressure flake. There's no way I'm going to hit that with percussion, although I know it'll get it with percussion. I'm going to try to pressure flake it. Alrighty. Okay. What about this mass here? Yeah, that's bugging me a lot, but not yet. I'm closer to getting it straight. I think I should just start shaping it. That's going to be a large base. Oh well. Large stem, I mean. Very long, large stem. I don't know if I'll be able to get the symmetry just right. Alright, next segment. Okay, so yeah. I need a few bold flakes, some more thinning, and then I think I'm gonna pressure flake it and call it good. All right, let's see. And I had to grind the edges a lot for this final pass. Okay. Now, will it work if I prepare these platforms? Yeah, it probably will, but I've not been able to get long flakes even with prepared platforms on this. So it doesn't make much sense if I have to lose a lot of width and still not get long flakes. Yeah, that worried me for a second. I thought that was going to be a big old step fracture. Okay, let's see. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. I gotta risk the overshots. I risked that overshot and I risked that one too. I'm risking them here on the stem as well. Alright, that's about as straight as I'm going to be able to get it. I think, yeah. I need to thin down this thick area. But I might be able to do that with pressure. I think that it's safe to do the rest of this with pressure. Let's see. I'm wondering if I should use the big old Ishi stick or just a small pressure flaker. I'll just use a small one. I kind of like it thick right here, so I'm going to leave it. I could run another percussion flake up into that area, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do mainly is try to take care of this, that thick area. Being very careful not to take too much off of the width. This whole side here has got thick spots. It doesn't like minimalist napping. Gotta go for the gusto on this stuff. There's some defects in the stone, so it's not going to be perfect. far as step fracturing, there's going to be some step fracturing left in. I think I already mentioned the easiest point to do is one of these long contracting stem points. Do some damage control with the indirect percussion to try to remove some of this mass. It's not really damage control, it's like thickness control or lump control. Gotta get rid of those lumps. Alright, no more lumpy. And I'm starting to get the crushing because I'm doing the minimalist approach. Still doing it, but I can't help it. I can't be hitting this really, really hard. Yeah, I'm gonna take one flake. I am gonna take that one flake because it's bugging me. Okay, so now I'm just going to pressure flake it and call it good. So now I can do the meandering thought process and talking about stupid stuff. Right? Right. So why haven't we seen Kevin lately? He's around, he just doesn't come into the frame anymore. I try to start napping right when I get in the shop, and when he hears the clicking, he doesn't get near. He already knows it. I'm not going to give him any attention when I'm napping. He's around here somewhere. Sitting in the shadows, waiting to pounce. Probably are some mice in here. Oh, I got the mouse poison out. So they should be few and far between. Kevin got into that rat poison or mouse poison one time. He ate some of it. Had to take him to the vet. It affects the vitamin K levels in the blood, and it causes the, I don't know, circulatory system to do weird things, and that's what kills the mice. It's that chemical reaction with something that eliminates the vitamin K. Well, he got a bunch of vitamin K shots and stuff when we took him to the vet, so he was fine. Costs a lot of money though. Live and learn. You got to put that rat poison up higher. Why don't I just trap them in regular little traps, or do some cool traps I see on YouTube? There's guys making all kinds of nice fancy mouse traps. I know it's cliche, but they are building some really nice ones. Why don't I put one of those out? I have. The question is, if they catch them and they're still alive, what do I do with the live mice? Well, I already know. You can drown them, or you can dispatch them some other way. I just didn't like dispatching them. You know what I mean? Because we've had pet mice, and it just seems so. It just seems so. I don't know. It's difficult. Let's put it that way. So I don't catch them live anymore. Anyway, Kevin catches them live. I've seen him. Well, I've seen one that he was toying with. He was already dead, of course, but he was kind of keeping it to himself, guarding it for I don't know what reason. And say, "What you got there, Kevin?" What is it? It's a mouse? What are you doing with it? Anyway, they say the dog can get poisoned just by eating a mouse that ate the rat poison. Yeah, so I got to be careful. Make sure he doesn't eat those dead mice. If I find one, I got to pick one up. Anyway, I don't know why I got off talking about that, off track. Talking about that. There's got to be better things to talk about than pest control, these little mice control. They're not that bad this year. I've had years where they were really bad. Alright, I gotta pay attention to these. I don't want step fractures. Nice, okay. I don't care about this type of step fracture. At the end of that termination, I care about the step fractures near the edge. Like this one here bugs me. But I don't think I can do anything about it unless I risk the overshot from the other side, which I'm not going to. This one kind of bugs me a little bit, but you can't see that when you haft it. It doesn't detract from the function of the arrowhead when it's in the hafting area. It just, when it's near the edge, that's when it interferes with the resharpening and that sort of thing. I could try to get rid of that lump on top there. I don't know, I could end up with an island. Okay, I want to upload this one tonight, so it can't be too long. Last time I tried to upload an hour-and-a-half video, this is not going to be an hour and a half, even though if it runs long. The last time I tried to upload an hour-and-a-half long video, it took 9 hours. Now, granted, I'm using my mobile data because I can't always be near the Wi-Fi at that hour. At late hours like this. I'll stay in the shop and do stuff late. And it doesn't like switching back and forth from Wi-Fi to mobile, so you got to stay on one or the other. Anyway, I stayed on the mobile, and it took 9 hours. So I got to go back to leaving my phone close to the modem so I can get it to upload through Wi-Fi. Anyway, I don't want to talk about napping stuff. Did I get it? No, it didn't do it. Try to push a flake off into this area to get rid of that little bit. Oh well, it does produce a nice sharp edge. I'll give it that. Very, very sharp. Alright, so final shaping. See what we can do. Yeah, not very good. I'm going to say it over and over. It hates that minimalist little pecking. It doesn't like the little naps. Gotta be aggressive. All right then. Fine. I feel like my camera's drifting. Let's see. All right, another little pop out would be nice. Right there. Yep, nice, nice. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to get that out of there, so I'm just going to leave it. Well, I can try one more thing with the spatula tool, although it might leave a metal mark. Nasty old metal mark. Which means I'm going to have to grind it all down if I want to get rid of it. Now that it's flatter, I can probably take a flake. An indirect percussion flake if I'm really careful. Let's see. I don't want to take a pressure flake because I know it's not going to travel far enough. I don't even know if it's going to travel with the indirect percussion, but we got to try it. That's not too bad. I think I'm not going to push my luck. All right. Yeah, it's not too bad. The metal marks, for the most part, are gone except for that one. There's a little bit of metal right up on the surface of that step, but I'm going to leave it. Good enough. I got some of your name, Dave. All right. So, how would you haft it? You would haft it with a deeper haft than this. See that? This is the normal. Something that long would be hafted either in a knife handle, maybe a bone, or a long, deep notch. Could be that'll dart point or a knife. Points like this or similar to this were fairly common. Okay, so hopefully that'll be good enough. I'm not going to spend more time on it. There's a few dull spots. I think some of you guys need closure. Need to finish out. Need closure. So let me get rid of the dull spots and get some closure on this. And I'll move on to the other ones that I didn't finish out. You can't see, can you? There's too much glare. Alright, where are you, dull spots? I think I got them all. Can't leave the tip too jaggedy. I don't remember seeing very many artifacts that are jaggedy near the tip. Down near the barbs, yes, but hardly any near the tip. You know, with large serrations and undulations, you don't really see that near the tip very much. You see them mostly down here on the sides and the stems. Yeah, the stem looks symmetrical to me. Yeah, and the tip looks like it'll line up with a nice straight notch in the shafting material, and the tip will line up. I think that'll work. Okay, there you go.